Hey, put down those fragments of silicon.
All right, welcome to a new installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining me as always are Petty and Gollix, the 2/3 equation here. I know I'm kind of tired today because, well, it's been a busy day. Like, I'm a bit tired to be witty. Anyway, let's get to the news. Gollix, why don't you start us off this week?
Well, I'm taking a long weekend this week, which is nice. We get to have tomorrow off for Veterans Day, and then I'm taking off on Friday, so
That'll be handy.
that's good. Although this week and then in 2 weeks, Thanksgiving week. This week has been, and Thanksgiving week again will be pretty busy at work because we have a lot of consumers to process the things for on those days, on those weeks. It alternates, and those are both 3-day weeks, pretty much. So
fun.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Next week.
Let's see. Weather's still going back and forth between being reasonably cool and kind of unseasonably warm, but mostly kind of cool on the appropriately cool side, I guess. Let's see. I'm almost done with the unlocking stuff for the. Well, I guess I've unlocked pretty much everything for the DLC for Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. I got the 2 new characters, and I got the new weapons for the existing characters and things. But there are still some new missions I haven't done yet, because you have to get people up to pretty high levels and get weapons up to pretty high levels to be, stronger for some of the hard stuff. So that's the thing. Not really a whole lot else, I guess.
All right, that means Petty, it's your go.
Well, Monday we had to take Luna to the vet again because they put her on a higher dose of thyroid medication, and she was refusing to take it. And last time she did that, it was because her levels were too low. So we took her to the vet. They did blood work again, and they think there might be something wrong with their blood work machine, because it's bouncing around way too much. So they've sent her, they sent a sample off to a better lab, basically, to see what's going on. So that's fun. But overall, she seems to be doing fine, at least. And as far as gaming goes, Sunday is going to be the store championship for my local Digimon card game stuff, so that's kind of fun. So I've been working on, building a deck and whatnot. And as far as video games, I've been working through, what's it called? River City Girls, just because it's leaving Game Pass soon. So it's been so far enjoyable. And as far as Switch stuff, my sister and I have just been kind of messing around with the new Animal Crossing update. We don't know if we want to get the paid DLC thing yet. So that's something that we'll need to look into at some point. And I think that's it from me.
All right. I guess it's my go. Actually, there's quite a bit of news this week. Starting with our wayward fourth member, Twilight Winter. I spoke to him yesterday about his status, and he's currently in holding pattern might not be the right word. I guess in terms of our show, his situation hasn't changed, but that's because his work situation is still uh, a jangled mess. He's still working late. He doesn't have consistent hours. That's the biggest thing. So he doesn't really know what he's doing week to week, unless is still currently unable to rejoin us. Um, so yeah, that's about we will check in with him in January, see if that's changed. Hopefully he'll be rejoining us for the new season, but nothing can be promised at this stage. But we do have an update in case anyone was wondering what was going on with him. Let's see. Yeah, today was a busy day in between dealing with my brother because I have to move a piece of furniture with him in a few days, but nailing down the details of that have been vexing, to say the least. Um, probably going to confirm things with him on Saturday because it's my niece's birthday, and I got to go down there for that. And and the moving of the furniture will take place in between now and Thanksgiving. I think we're settling on next Monday, if I'm remembering correctly, but this could still change. Let's see. Yeah, and so in case anyone might have noticed, the website did not get a Fragments of Silicon update, at least for the A show here. We do have a Friday show as well, which is still on track as far as I know. But yeah, this episode was kind of a nightmare, mainly because negotiations as to what was going to happen with the guests went up to about a couple hours ago. Mainly because some correspondence went missing, and then it was who's going to show up and can they make it, and eventually it was decided that a later Friday show would be better for all parties involved. Hence why we're doing another Let's Play session this week. Apologies for having this 2 weeks in a row, but this is kind of the fire you play with when you get external guests. Sometimes life doesn't align. That can happen multiple weeks in a row. Not the first time this has happened. Thankfully, next week's guests have already confirmed. So we'll be back to normal then. And yeah, in terms of gaming, the Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster unlocked today. I had a chance to boot it up to make sure it worked and all that stuff. It does. I just haven't had the time to actually play it because, well, did you hear my day today? Right. And yeah, in terms of the last news desk on the left, we have an episode this week, and I think we have an episode next week. And that's it for that program for the time being. And yeah, that's about it for the news. So merrily we shall roll along to the Let's Play portion of the broadcast. And here we have Heaven's Vault Part 2. If I'm remembering, last week we left off at we were sailing through the Verdant Pass. We just ended up at the next port of entry. In fact, that's where we stopped. We didn't even have the chance to explore. Mm-hmm. So, let's get to it. Well, so we're in the swamp.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully, poisonous insects don't attack us.
Swamp full of gross stuff.
Well, I mean, it's a swamp. What do you expect? Like swamps are not really renowned for having nice shit in them.
Indeed.
I don't know. Some people like them, but clearly our character does not.
Insert joke about ogres.
Or maybe she does. I don't know.
Like, I'm thinking more gators. Like, at least she doesn't have to deal with chomping reptiles that will make a meal out of her legs.
You don't know that, but probably.
Like, well, at least at this point, like, there are no alligators in sight. Granted, that's not a big help.
That's how they get you.
Anyway, we got to go visit the swamp people. So,
Hooray! Can we call them Shreks?
no.
Fair enough.
R2D2 over there is really chatty and sassy.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Is there anyone home?
I don't think it gave me an option to knock.
Well, there's a literal black sheep. I guess it's deep purple, but still.
Oh, there's the front door. But it won't let me up.
Oh no, an inch high platform. The bane of her existence.
Whatever will
Look, our
we
character
do?
is clearly not very effortful.
Yeah, but she can't even step up on a plank. Apparently. That will never not be absurd.
Yeah.
You know,
Like, I could see
oh
if
no.
we were playing as the robot.
Earthy and sweet. What I think of when it comes to a swamp. Let's go with beautifully crafted. Because, I mean, it clearly is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's something carved into it.
We should look into that. Kind of
Huh.
our job. Holy something. All right. We got light, water, death, and snake.
What's the last one?
Snake. Like
No, the last word. The options for the last word.
Betty.
I just moved over. It's gonna take a couple seconds.
Goddess, stone, child, you.
Well, that's possibly goddess because it looks really similar to holy.
Yeah, it would I think it would be goddess or child.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking goddess right now because we know that word's holy, and that's kind of how this.
And then, did it have a snake on it?
I can't see from here.
I'm inclined towards water, but
Possibly.
Well, I'm not
Well,
thinking.
it's got the.
Okay, let's just think. Holy light goddess, holy water goddess, holy death goddess, or holy snake goddess. So, I'm thinking water because it's got an imprint of water there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be inclined towards either water or snake. But if it was snake, it would probably like visibly be snake.
Yeah, the thing doesn't look like a snake. Looks more like a monkey
Let's see.
or some kind of primate.
There's certainly plenty of water here.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Identified the water goddess.
So probably right, unless they, change it.
Oh man.
Oh, what kind of crystal is it? 6.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Are the shard of them brute enough to find him?
Let's go with that. Because we should
Good.
probably keep looking.
Good job, camera.
Let's try the village first.
10 out of 10 camera work there, game.
Yeah, rabbit or robot is clearly not very enthusiastic, but we are here to try to do something.
Yeah. And he's not in charge. So, we look around more for more potential clues.
Or alligators. / crocodiles, whatever. One of those might be around.
Hmm.
Oh man, there is a person.
It turns out rice patties is on the menu.
I mean, it's one of the things you can grow in wetter climates.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not a surprise. Yeah. Unless it's like the alien equivalent of rice, Thraxon, or insert alien sounding word here.
It's corn in the British sense.
Isn't there a whole bunch of stuff?
Until like Americans settled America and started using maize ridiculously. Maize is the actual name of the plant that we refer to as corn, and until it was identified as like the corn, corn just meant like any grain.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Learning is fun.
Knowledge is power.
God, can we shut up the robot?
I wish.
I know we can actually do it, but why is a robot this complaining? Like, is his diodes aching on his left side?
You never know, maybe.
Just one nudge into the water and it would all end.
I mean, what is this robot here for? Like, to supervise us?
Probably.
So I'm guessing we want to go with greetings.
Yeah, that would work.
I'm actually looking for someone.
What do you have to trade?
Oh,
See,
I
let's
would
see
be
if
to the point, but go ahead. Oh yeah, she is looking for things that might be valuable. You're
Okay.
right, we haven't.
Yeah. Hey, my friend is Ioxian.
oh, well then.
Hi, space racism. Now, have we explored everywhere yet?
I don't think so.
Then fuck the robot.
So, A, I'm guessing?
B.
Oh. Either way.
Yeah. Point is, no, the robot is not getting to dictate terms here.
If the robot keeps mouthing off, we get a German suplex it off the cliff.
Sure.
Awesome. So this is the part where we start kicking doors in?
If it'll allow us.
Oh no.
Spoiler, it's not going to allow us.
Damn. That would have made the game a hell of a lot more
This feels
interesting.
like a pretty low violence game in general.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's only so much you can commentate about a swamp.
Yeah. And as long as you don't see any talking donkeys, we're good.
No, I don't think we have to worry about that. Talking sheep, maybe.
Ah, yes. Our other greatest of enemies, tall grass. Okay. Approach villager. Well then. That was an interaction.
Very rude people.
A little bit. Little bit.
I know you.
Do we be truthful, or vaguely truthful, or just tell her our name?
Go with the name. That's who you're waiting for? Let's see. Let's ask about the Jamiroquai.
Oh boy.
Hmm. Well, Jamiroquai.
I guess I found it. Yeah.
You can't tell me what he was doing here in the sky. Helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was something.
Yeah. Go with the red option.
Yeah, Miari was the person who sent us here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well then.
So have we explored all options yet? No, I don't.
Take the piggy. Or the sheep or whatever it is.
Pig, apparently.
Hmm.
I mean, we should probably.
So I don't think there's anything else left here for us.
Yeah. Right. Let's see. Is there anywhere we haven't explored yet? Like what? Uh,
I think I've been everywhere.
hmm. Hang on. Have we been to the terraces? I think we have.
Yeah, I think we just came down from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the terraces were those stairs we went up. Or ramps, rather.
Then I
The
get
thing you do to make hilly terrain more, farmable.
right. Then back to the ship.
Awesome.
So where do we go to now?
Everywhere.
Can we go back
I believe we can.
to
I mean, yeah, we
Iox or
can't.
wherever?
We can't go
Sorry,
back.
I can't remember Iox because there's a planet called that in Pathfinder and it's different.
Let's see. The edge of the cyclones. Well, we got our lead then. Let's go.
Hmm.
Out to storm.
Well,
We better find out. Against all odds, progress has been made.
mhm.
So I guess we go to the moon.
We can. It looks like the game wants us to head that way, but we could go back to the academy and talk to the Mayuri about the stone. Yucks. Okay. Basically, the game's telling us to go to the cyclone.
Mhm.
Like,
We.
hopefully, this doesn't end badly. I mean, what's the worst that could possibly happen heading towards a violent hurricane thing? We're gonna need a log post for this.
Maybe? I keep wanting.
Certainly an interesting.
I keep wanting to try and use the stick, and no, it wants me to use the shoulder buttons.
Right, because you're in
Those
this
are your
stuff
sails.
in this stuff you need to use the sails, not the
Rudder.
rudder.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh. I mean,
Reply to what? I missed the line we had the
Yeah,
option to reply to.
I was a little preoccupied.
well, I mean, it's a bit hard to see light text on a light background.
Especially when you're trying not to run into the side of mountains. Shit.
Yep. Uh-oh.
That did not happen.
Yeah. I mean, if the robot could kindly shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess reply. Like science?
Silence, she said.
That's probably not going to shut the robot up.
Yeah, I'm not going to question it. Oh, fuck.
I think it tells you if you're significantly off course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. that.
Okay, we made it to the general area.
Mm-hmm.
You could look for possible search locations, whatever that means.
Land.
No, I mean, if you press the back button,
I think I found it.
well, you found something.
Yep. Above the crystal moon. So are we going to have to deal with some guardians of the sailor variety then?
Oh boy.
To get as close as you can get.
No air? That hasn't really been an issue here.
Huh. Well, this is perhaps the most stunning revelation yet. That robot has a use.
Uh-huh.
Wrong franchise. You're not alone in the dark. It's actually quite lit.
Or is it?
Yes, it is. Look, she's right behind a fucking lamp, or in front of a lamp. And I don't know, there's this green light coming in. Tools are good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Well, fabric. Ooh, you've got more things to translate. Okay. Emperor and Holy. Let's see. We, Guardians, Lights.
It has nothing to do with either of those, it doesn't look like.
Yeah.
The only thing that's the same is the thing at the very front. So.
Guardians? Well, let's see what the other.
Pilgrims. Yeah, we should see what the possibilities are.
All right.
Like.
All right. Weaker, quickly, pilgrims, citizens. Let's do we got for related words here. Buried goddess, holy. The goddess.
Okay, that looks like it's related to goddess, so that's probably prey.
All right.
Or like it has the same ending as goddess and holy, you know.
Yeah. Let's go with prey. All right.
So like we pilgrims pray, or
Well, let's see. Let's put pilgrims in there for now. Or
well, pilgrims was also an option
let's go
for
to
the middle
word.
one.
Let's go to the middle word first. All right. Like.
So this actually ends in the word for goddess / holy. So pilgrim would make sense because it's usually someone who's traveling.
Right. So okay, let's put pilgrims there for now. So
That I would probably say we then.
Yeah, we pilgrims pray, because that's the only thing that makes sense here in that context.
I think the most things.
Hmm.
Were you a pilgrim, Renma? But why did he hide it?
Got more. Got more translation.
Uh-huh.
Most likely not. Okay. Let's see. Well, we got holy in as part of it.
Yeah, in the middle there.
So let's go with that first. Put that there. And yeah, so we've got 2 words. All right.
Do we want to go with bless?
Bliss seems
I would say no. The middle. No, it's different.
let's see.
It looks kind of like the first part of there, the middle first part of Pilgrims, but I'm not sure.
Let's see the other word.
I'm kind of inclined toward follow, actually.
Screen goes muddy. Let's see. Holy. Okay. Holy.
Follow holy light, follow holy word. I don't know.
I'm thinking light because of the streaking thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Could be. I don't think this is like a pictographic language, but
when
yeah, I'm inclined to either follow or toward here.
follow holy light.
It'd be nice if we could see the, figure.
It's a ring, isn't it? Oh, a
Brass
figurine. Yeah,
figurine.
never mind.
All right, looks like we're going with follow holy light for now. We can always come back to this. But that's not all. I mean, it's the only choice.
I mean, you can say nothing.
A reliquary.
Okay,
That's
so
even.
now we have. So now we're starting to have enough of stuff to work with.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's see. Looks like we got waters.
And it looks like it ends with what we have identified as us.
So let's put those in. Waters. Okay, so that is water. All right, we've got those locked down. It is nice that they confirm. So the question is, waters link, waters divide, waters provide, heal.
Probably either connect or heal, but
Thinking link.
yeah, link or heal.
Yeah. Waters link us. And we just got a language bonanza here, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. I think we got. Let's see. Follow and light. Hooray! So we need to work on the follow. All right. Stars?
The possessive one or the plural one?
I go with the possessive for now. Maybe we should head back to Elks. Actually, we should wrap this up.
Yeah, waiting for them to give me a point to pause.
Yeah.
Can I?
Show me.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that should do it for now.
Yep.
All right. Still a good solid amount of progress this week.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else we want to do, or?
I think as soon as we can save and quit, that would be a good idea. Or if it's auto save, which I think it is.
Yeah.
I need to go refill my drink though before we start the topic of discussion.
No. Don't tarry.
Alright, I think this is good for now.
All right. Give Petty a second here to transmogrify to Tomb Raider stuff.
Okay. Do you want me to do the transition music stuff too, or?
Yes,
Right.
obviously. All right. So, welcome to the topic of discussion. Clearly, Galax is not the Flash, so he'll be along in a minute.
Or is he?
No, I'm pretty sure he isn't.
I tried.
Yes. Anyway, so the topic of discussion this week is Tomb Raider. Mainly because it, as a franchise, celebrated its 25th anniversary not too long ago. Indeed, Tomb Raider came out in 1996, and yeah, it's had a lot of releases. I think we are aiming to talk about like the original Tomb Raider, though that's a bit not difficult, but Tomb Raider is a franchise that's been rebooted twice.
Many times.
Yeah, I guess that is many times in terms of video games, like because people call the most recent Tomb Raider games the reboot trilogy. like that's not exactly true because Tomb Raider got rebooted in the mid 2000s. I guess it wasn't as much of a reboot as the flat out reboot trilogy, but it like I don't know if what they call the Legend trilogy follows the original 5 or so games. Like, admittedly, not a connoisseur on the Tomb Raider timeline. I theoretically that person does exist, just because that kind of person exists seems for every franchise. Now, especially as one as long lived as this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, as far as the original Tomb Raider goes, obviously much has been made of its impact in the world, not just in terms of it as a game, but more about the, if you will, titular character of Lara Croft. Like,
Ha!
it's not a pun, but
I know.
it's kind of like when you talk about Lara Croft, you've got to deal with some very angular tits. At least if we're talking about the 1996 incarnation. Though, if we're talking about the original Tomb Raider, we're talking about mono tit Laura.
Oh God.
I'm like, yeah, they didn't exactly have enough polygons to, let's say, give her individual peaks. I'm like, not the only character in the 90s to suffer this fate, but it's something that would get improved upon not too far. Like, I think they smoothed out the rough edges quite literally in Tomb Raider 3. I remember Tomb Raider 3 looking significantly curvier than the previous iterations. Like, mind you, even Tomb Raider 1 is renowned for its curves. It's just, clearly what took to, turn people on in 1996 was a bit up to the imagination. As, the original Lara Croft model is definitely very much of the time. Now, and keep in mind, this is something that people consider to be on the realistic side of things. And yes, that is true in the sense that this is what you could achieve in terms of a fucking PlayStation in 1996. I guess technically it's the Saturn, because the original Tomb Raider actually began life as a Saturn game. And indeed, it released on the Saturn first. It's just, the PlayStation had a much, much bigger install base in 1996. So, it's like the Tomb Raider game reached X amount of PlayStation users and reached X divided by 5 Saturn users. Also, there was a PC version. And that gets to, the perhaps infamous control scheme of the original Tomb Raider, just games in general, because they really didn't change from game to game, which was kind of one of the complaints after a while. Once you were getting onto game 5 with the same basic templates, it was getting a little long in the tooth. But, even Tomb Raider Chronicles was better than fucking Angel of Darkness, aka the game that almost killed Tomb Raider. Not even joking about that. But, as far as the old school Tomb Raider controls, this was developed for control schemes that didn't have analog anything. Like, I think, really the only analog device you would have had in 1996 on the Saturn, PlayStation, and PC was the mouse.
Yeah, even joysticks were digital, even though they didn't look like it.
Yeah. I mean, remember, 1996 is just this is the year that analog sticks come into the fore, and that's just on the N64. It takes a while for the Saturn and the PlayStation to get analog sticks of their own. And even then, on the Saturn, it's a select few games that end up using the nice 3D pad. And on the PlayStation, the DualShock analog controllers, they do eventually become the standard, but not until 1998 or 1999. And even then, they can't be the full standard until the PlayStation 2, because, this is always the problem when you introduce peripherals. They're peripheral. Even something as popular as, say, the DualShock. Not every PlayStation owner or PlayStation 1 owner is going to have a DualShock or even a dual analog controller. So you do have to keep in, unless you're like Ape Escape, few other titles of the PlayStation 1 vintage, you do have to keep digital controls in mind, because not everyone's going to have the analog sticks. Because the Tomb Raider game, like Tomb Raider 3, I remember having analog control in the sense that you could use the sticks, but it was digital control just grafted on an analog stick. And really the Tomb Raider games were built with this kind of control scheme in mind, because the Tomb Raider games, they're an extension of the cinematic platformers of old. Like, they move much more like the Prince of Persia or the Oddworld games, rather than, say, Mario or Sonic. The Tomb Raider games have a very deliberate pace with their jumps and the moves and everything. It works in the context of the control limitations. It's just their controls I have never liked. Like, even back in the day, I never really jived with the very stiff digital movements of Lara Croft, at least when it came to actual, the running and jumping stuff. She was actually a lot more limber, if you will, in terms of combat. Mainly because it was much easier to do the dodge jumps than it was to, make sure you did the right kind of jump. Because, like, there are three kinds of jumps. Was it two or three? Well, there's the running jump, which you need to, get horizontal, let's say, air,
Yeah.
horizontal distance. I don't think that I'm not sure if horizontal.
Much like in real life.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. It's a much more realistic control scheme than Mario or Sonic or Spyro or Crash. It can be a good or bad thing depending on your positioning. But yeah, it's like, in order to get verticality, you have to do the standing jump, which gets you higher. And that's how you climb a lot of the actual cliffs. And there are separate stances for combat and running. Like, you have to have your weapons drawn in order to engage in combat. It's not an auto thing. Like, these are things that would get refined in later Tomb Raider games, though I can't say they ever got completely got rid of the stiffness. Even Lara Croft in the Temple of Osiris here has a bit of the Tomb Raider stiffness to it, but certainly a lot less than the grid-based Tomb Raider games. And the Tomb Raider games are also renowned for, even though they're a platform series, fall damage is very much a thing. Oh God, I have crashed Lara Croft on a lot of jagged cliffs. Because once again, the jumping is, let's just say, a bit finicky. Like, it's also not helped on the console.
This is around the same time as like Super Mario 64, which is one of the first games that had really decent 3D jumping without like significant correction.
Well, even then, like I said, the jumping in like the Tomb Raider Legend trilogy, it's a lot more refined. Oh God, is it a lot more refined? But it's still very stiff and mechanical in comparison to other games. Because once again, it's going for a more realistic sense of kinematics than Mario. It's just, unfortunately, by the time of the even by the PlayStation 2 era, you have things like the Prince of Persia trilogy, which are much more dynamic in its aerobatics than the Tomb Raider trilogy. Say nothing of like when you had Tomb Raider Underworld coming out around the same time as the first Nathan Drake game.
Yeah,
like,
it was before parkour became publicly known.
Yeah, once again, that trend started with the Prince of Persia games. And indeed, I think that's one of the big reasons why the reboot trilogy happened, is because Nathan Drake kind of really showed up Lara Croft in terms of like combat and gameplay and everything. In fact, it showed up Indiana Jones. Like Nathan Drake Uncharted, that got an Indiana Jones game canceled because it was so good. Anyway, see. I guess other things with Tomb Raider. Save system on the consoles was interesting because it did the Resident Evil thing of limited saves. Because that's just kind of how saving worked on consoles at that particular moment in time. The thing is, they could have done save anywhere. They chose not to. They did save anywhere on the PC version. So the frustration factor is cut down somewhat, but once again, you're still at the mercy of the controls and physics and all that stuff. And anyway, in contrast to Tomb Raider's more realistic aesthetic and locations, it's no stranger to complete ridiculousness. Because even the first game is treading onto the realm of conspiracy theories. Like, I mean, not 100% real life conspiracy theories, but Lara Croft has to find a lost artifact of Atlantis, and is being manipulated by lizard people. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not making any of that up. And keep in mind, like one of the early levels is, you're into the fucking land of the lost here and fighting a T-Rex.
It's a very pulp archaeology setting.
Yes. It makes no attempts to hide the inspirations that it drew upon. How well that's aged, I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of reassessment of archaeology and colonialism and all that stuff. And, Lara Croft isn't really dealing with reality. Like, it's not like Indiana Jones, which was pulling actual artifacts from actual, I hesitate to use the word mythology, but religion. The Ark of the Covenant is an actual thing that the Jewish people believed existed, for example.
It's fairly reasonable that it did. Whether or not it had actual face melting powers is
right
up for debate.
Or more to the point, the Holy Grail. Granted, these are Christian artifacts, but you have the fucking Temple of Doom, and oh god, just we do not have the space to get into fucking Temple of Doom. I mean, that was full on just racism, and it was quite intentional too, because fucking Spielberg and Lucas were having a row with the Indian government, and that was over the use of the Maharaja. So they decided to be really racist assholes. Yeah, thank you for that. Anyway, Lara Croft isn't really dealing with any of that. He's not here. Lara Croft's trying to find a lost Atlantean scepter in ancient Egypt. That being said, this is a Tomb Raider game that actually focuses in on the tombs and the raiding. Also, it's not really gussying things up, is it? She's not. The game isn't called White Archaeologist Girl. She's called the fucking Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
No points for guessing what she does.
Yeah. Well, it's like that. Those words have a fucking implication. She's not being called an archaeological preserver of history. She's being called a goddamn Tomb Raider, which is a synonym for a fucking thief. A Tomb Raider is not a
specifically one that does not particularly, respect the dead of ancient civilizations.
And that does describe Lara Croft.
A little too well.
Yeah, like she's not really known for being respectful for other people's cultures. Because once again, she bills herself as an archaeologist. She's considered to be an archaeologist, but she's really a thrill seeker. She's not doing this for the history. She's not even doing this for loot. She's doing this for adventure. She says this in the very first cutscene of Tomb Raider. Now, this is a thing that I believe changes through the games and possibly retcon. Once again, I'm not too high on the overall oeuvre of the finer points of the Tomb Raider lore. And I'm not really interested either. But my point is, Lara Croft, not really a good girl, strictly, or at least not, she's not being presented like Indiana Jones is often framed as. He's not being framed as a grave robber or anything of that.
I mean, one of Indiana Jones's more famous lines is that it belongs in a museum,
which has a lot of fucking implications in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. No, but at least it's like he's at least nominally in it for the academics, even if
right.
These days, there's a lot of we really should be repatriating some of the shit that Britain, especially, and also America, and also other countries have, taken to put in their museums.
That's not even getting into the granddaddy of all that. That's the Vatican.
Right, but Lara Croft is, it belongs in a trophy case in my house.
Yep. If I feel
or maybe I'll sell it if somebody wants to pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah, or maybe I won't bother because, like I said, if she literally says, "I'm in for the thrill of it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, we could talk more about the adventures of Lara Croft, but we do have to wrap things up as the last news desk approaches. I'm like, don't worry. Come December, we will have time to wax philosophical as long as we want. But until then, that'll about do it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. The week ahead, as mentioned before, we do have a new episode of Last News Desk on the left happening in about 15 minutes. And on Friday, November 12th, we'll be having Dan Bernardino of Playtra Games onto the program. This is the interview that got delayed a week because of a dental appointment that didn't end up happening. But everything's on course here, thankfully. We'll be talking about their upcoming game, Grid Force Mask of the Goddess. And coming up on the Sunday reviews, we'll be having reviews of Floofy's Adventure, Love Choice for the Nintendo Switch, Dogeron for the PlayStation 4, and Season's Beatings. Right, until then, I shall wish you good game.